Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. Um, okay. Hello, hello, hello. So we're going to go ahead and get started. We're just going to have fun today. And it's going to be a nice, simple, easy workout that is an essential workout that you're going to want to do every day if you can, because this is going to really help to make your body feel really good inside. So we're going to start with our feet, and I want you to grab your trusty half dome, and we're going to do a calf stretch. So if you don't have a half dome, that's totally fine. You're just going to get a rolled up towel, put rubber bands around the end of it, just roll up 2 towels, and then you'll have a nice dome to use. So go ahead and put the ball of your left foot on the top of the dome, heel on the ground. Your feet are going to be hip width apart. I want you to drop your ribs so that your rib stacks over this ASIS, or your hip bone. And then as soon as you do that, you're going to feel really slouchy. So just go ahead and bring your shoulders up, back, and down, and then ramp your chin back and kind of pull your spine, pull your whole skeletal structure posterior or backwards. So you're still keeping those ribs down over your hips. You're going to back your hips up and try to relax your calves and your thighs. So I know that's a lot of cueing, a lot of things to take in. Whatever, just do your best. Try to keep your feet straight. Try to wiggle those toes. You're going to feel a major stretch in your left calf right now, the calf that's on the dome. And I'm mirroring you, hopefully. If not, just do the right foot. But it doesn't matter. We're going to switch. So what you can do is either take a step forward or a step back with your other leg, depending on if you need more of a stretch. So if you don't feel a stretch right here, then you can step forward. Okay, it's going to be more intense, but don't lose those points. Don't lose shifting your hips back, dropping the ribs, and then ramping that head back. If you need to back your foot up a little bit because it's too intense, do that. You don't want to have cramps at nighttime because you overstretched your calf muscles. Okay, next is I want you to roll on the outsides of your feet and then keep your femurs in that position, externally rotated, and then drop your feet back down flat and just see what that feels like. Drop your ribs, pull your chin back, bring those shoulders up, back, and down. And that was about a minute, I would say. So we're going to go ahead and switch sides. You're just going to step off. Try to do this without holding on if you do have a chair near you, just so you can challenge your balance a little bit. Back that dome up and put the ball of your right foot on the dome, heel on the ground, left foot out to the side. Again, feet are hip width apart. And the way that you find that is that your ankles should line up with your hip bones and should go straight down. So again, drop your ribs, pull your chin back, keep the ribs dropped. Okay, back your hips up and feel that stretch in the right calf. So the more that you do this, if you can do this 3 times a day, just keep like a little half dome. I keep one in my kitchen under the counter. And when I remember, I do my half dome stretch for my calves. Or you can keep one in the bathroom when you're brushing your teeth so that you're doing it, a couple times a day. So again, if you do not feel a stretch in your right calf, you can step your left foot forward, or if you need more of a stretch, or back if it's too intense. And then I want you to just soften the fronts of those thighs, relax your legs, maybe roll your feet out to the side. So roll on the outsides of your feet. And then keep your femurs where they are, so they're externally rotated, and then drop your feet back down. Drop your ribs. Keep checking those ribs. They're going to want to pop up. It's like such a common thing to do for your posture. So try to drop those ribs. Notice when your ribs drop, your head goes forward, so you want to pull that chin back. Okay, and then we can just roll the shoulders if you want to. Snap, crackle, and pop, right? So make sure that the feet stay forward. They're going to want to turn out. So keep bringing your feet in so that if you were to cut off your toes, the tops of your feet are straight like train tracks. So if you had arrows, I painted a black arrow on the top of your foot that would point straight ahead. it feels pigeon-toed because we're so used to walking with our feet turned out. So I want you to get in the habit of bringing your feet pointed forward. Why? Because this is the best alignment for all of our joints. And if you're not used to turning your feet straight ahead when you're walking, then do it gradually, because you might need to go slowly so that you don't have any pain. Okay? Spread your toes. Good. Externally rotate your feet. You might notice when you externally rotate those thigh bones that your arch comes up a little bit off the floor on your foot. That's great. That's what we're looking for. We're going to go ahead and switch sides. So coming off, slide the dome over to the other side. Ball of the foot on the dome. Feel that good stretch. And then wherever you want your right foot to go, drop those ribs. Untuck your tailbone, back your hips up. Ramp your chin back. This time we're going to bring the left arm out to the side. We're going to bend the elbow and bring the hand up as high as you can without using the other hand to help it up there. So just do what you can. And then if you want, you can flip your palm. And then if you can feel the bony aspect of your shoulder blade, see if you can round your shoulder in so that you can get rid of that bony aspect. And maybe drop your right ear towards your right shoulder. Keep dropping your rib cage down towards that hip bone. Pulling your chin back, getting a nice stretch in the left side of your neck. Both knees are straight, both feet are straight, pointed straight ahead. Rolling on the outsides of those feet. Let your belly relax. Keep dropping those ribs back, your hips up. Bring your chin towards your shoulder, and then drop your chin towards your chest, and just kind of do a half moon from side to side, just gently stretching out your neck. If you want to do a full circle, you can, really slowly, pausing if there's any pain. Excuse me, there's a yawn. There is a yawn. When the sun goes down, I go down. It's kind of how it is. Go ahead and switch sides. We're going to do the other foot on the half dome. Right foot on the half dome, left foot steps forward. Drop those ribs, ramp your head back. Externally rotate your thighs. So you're going to roll on the outsides of your feet on those little edges, and then you're going to drop the soles of your feet down and keep your feet, your legs, your femurs where they are. Okay? Take your right arm out to the side, bend at the elbow, and go ahead and maybe flip that palm unless it's too intense. Drop those ribs and then round out your spine. This is a good one to do every day so you can kind of help with any shoulder pain. It's an important range of motion to have. And then you can drop your left ear towards your left shoulder. Let out a few yawns. Yawns are actually very therapeutic. I did a video on yawning one time, because yawning helps you to get into your parasympathetic mode, helps you to rest and digest and relax. And you want to spend 99.9% of your time, if you can, in the parasympathetic rest and digest. Why? Because that's where your cells repair and maintain themselves. It's when we're in the fight or flight stress response, that's when we break down our cells, and that causes damage, and we need more antioxidants because we have oxidative stress. And if you do that too many times, you're going to get irreparable aging and damage and senescence to your cells. So do what you can to relax, 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 no matter what your situation. It's not about changing your situation, your environment, unless you want to. That's great. But it's about how you respond to the stressor in your life, because we always are going to have stress. There's really no way to escape stress. Sometimes even just like being on the beach, being still is stressful if you don't want to be still at that moment. So it's really how, if you're starting to feel stressed in your body, can you pause, take a few breaths, and relax? Can you get back into that parasympathetic rest and digest? So think rest and digest. Let go of the fight or flight, even though the fight or flight can be a very fun and addictive kind of mode to get into. It's not where you want to spend your time. Trust me, okay? All right, so we're going to go ahead and come off of that. That was the calf stretch. We're going to go right into what is this? Top of the foot stretch. So you're standing with your feet hip width apart. You're going to shift your weight to your right leg, bring your left foot right back behind you, back your hips up, drop your rib cage, pull your chin back, and feel that stretch on the top of your foot. So you can lengthen from your hip flexor. Keep backing those hips up, drop your rib cage. This is a great one for balance. And it's a great one for the top of the foot. Woo! Can you feel that in your big toe? Right? Now, if you want to get a little bit tricky, you can do a hip hinge forward and then back. Woo! And hip hinge forward and back. So you're trying to keep your standing leg straight, which is difficult. So if you need to use a couple fingers on the chair to help you stabilize, that's great. It's okay to be wobbly. It's okay to be a beginner. It's okay to try something new that you're not good at, you know? Why do we stop doing that once we grow up or become not children? It's okay to be bad at something in the beginning, right? Otherwise, we would have never walked because we were all horrible at walking when we first started. Okay, you're going to bring your right foot back behind you, whichever one you didn't start with, and then back those hips up. Remember, I'm still keeping my feet hip width apart. If you get too narrow, you'll lose your balance a little bit. So keep your feet hip width apart, back those hips up. Woo! And then see if you can really feel that stretch, not only in your hip flexor, but the top of that foot, the top of that big toe, the ankle area. And you can do this stretch sitting. So if you're having a meal with your family, maybe throw in a top of the foot stretch for everybody, right? So feel that stretch. Woo! You can kind of shift your weight forward, shift your weight back, put more pressure on that back leg. It's going to put more stretch into the foot, but maybe more pain. Try to keep your feet, the front toes relaxed and spread, and the knee straight and the thigh relaxed. We'll work on that a little bit today. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, spread your toes, especially bring the big toe more medial or towards the midline. And then we're just gonna hip hinge forward. So you're not really lifting the back leg up so much that you're using your standing leg to do the work. So your hamstring is doing the leg here, the work here, just as you come forward and back. So I'm not really thinking about lifting my back leg. It's the motion that's coming from my hamstring. So I'm rooting down through my bottom and my hamstring, and that's doing the work. So a couple more. Remember, you can use a wall or the floor or whatever you need to for your balance. Keep your rib cage down. Spread your toes. Try not to grip or scrunch your toes. Keep them relaxed. Good. And then just kind of maybe shake those legs out. We're going to do double calf stretch next. So you'll need a chair and your half dome. You can bring the half dome right behind the chair, or you can flip the half dome around and do the seat. So what you're going to do is keep your ribs down, and you're just going to back your hips up. Draw your rib cage in. So I always like to start up high and then work my way into it. I'm just going to back my half dome up a little bit. And you're going to sit back into that. Now be mindful that you're not rounding your back like this. So you want to untuck the tailbone, draw those ribs in, and really push those hips back. Now I can really feel this in my hamstrings. I worked my hamstrings yesterday, so they are saying hello to me today. You might feel this more in your calves. There is no wrong place to feel this. And then I like to bend my knees and really get my tailbone lifted. Keep those ribs pulled in, and then straighten out your knees. So back your hips up, relax your shoulders. Then if you want to, you can shift your weight to your left leg and bring your right leg straight back, and you can try to balance here. So you're kind of balancing on that heel. Right? Keep backing your hips up. Don't let your hips travel forward, even a little bit. Back them up. Relax, relax. Maybe a little less weight through your hands. Try to relax the front of your thigh. And we'll switch sides. So bring that right foot down. Back your hips up first. Shift your weight to your right leg. Bring that left leg straight back. Back your hips up. Relax your shoulders. See if you can balance here. Keep the standing leg straight. Relax the front of your thigh. Draw those ribs in. Balance, balance, balance. It's a tough one. And then come back down. Push those hips back. And then if you want to, you can go lower. But I only recommend this if you have short corgi legs like I do, or you have a lot of flexibility in your hamstrings. okay? Because if you start to round, then it's too low for you. You want to come up a little bit higher so you can maintain that curve in your low back, okay? All right, so feeling that stretch, knees are straight, ribs pull in, back your hips up a lot. We're gonna hold for about a minute. Sometimes I like to do some shoulder rolls while I'm here. So I'm keeping my elbows straight and I'm just massaging my mid-back, keeping my ribs pulled in by just doing a circle with my scapula. So you can try going both directions. And then we'll sit back again, bend those knees, straighten them. Shift your weight to your left leg, bring your right leg back, back those hips up. Maybe come up onto the fingertips. Do, I don't know, 10% less weight through your hands. See if you can. Keep those hips level. Make sure you can lift and lower the kneecap of the standing leg. If you can't, that means you're using your quad. And we don't want you to use your quad, which is the front of your thigh. We want you to use your butt and your hamstring. So if you feel like you can't relax your kneecap, back your hips up first and foremost, because if your hip is forward, it's going to engage the quad. So back those hips up, relax the front of the thigh, keep the hips nice and level, and then see if you can relax your thigh. We're going to do an exercise like to practice that, like I said, so if you're not quite getting it, don't worry about it. Back those hips up, draw the ribs in, shift to your right leg now, lift that left leg back, right leg, standing right leg is straight. Back those hips up, relax your shoulders, draw the rib cage in, breathe. Come up on those fingertips, and then 10% less weight through your fingers. See if you can. See if you can support yourself through that standing leg a little bit more, through that bottom. Can you lift and lower your kneecap of the standing leg? If not, back your hips up and then think about relaxing the front of that thigh. Okay, come on down one more time. Back your hips up, draw your ribs in. Ooh, the lolly. Let's hold this here. So I want you to roll on the outsides of your feet. So you externally rotate your thighs and then drop the soles of your feet back down, but maintain your legs in that externally rotated position, okay? Keep backing those hips up, knees are straight. Who said stretching was easy, right? Maybe wiggle your knees, your hips from side to side. Externally rotate your thighs, your feet, and then bring your feet back to neutral. So you can feel that, right? You can feel that turn in your femurs and how that gives you more arch support. Isn't that neat? Then we're going to come on up and we're going to go against a wall, okay? So I want you to put all of your weight against the wall, okay? And you want your knees to be straight. And I want you to try to lift and lower your kneecaps. And you do that by tightening the thighs and relaxing the thighs. Okay, tighten and relax. And then you can also practice externally rotating the femurs too. Okay, so this is the feeling that you want when you're standing and you're balancing on one leg. You don't want to use the front of your thigh. That's going to contribute to knee problems over time. When we're walking, when we're standing on one leg, we should shift to our hips, our bottoms, our hamstrings, and release the front of the thighs, okay? All right, so come on up. I want to show you one more exercise if you didn't quite feel that against the wall. And maybe only one side was able to release, and that's okay. Just keep practicing and have the one thigh teach the other thigh. So the other thing that you can do to feel this kneecap release is hold on to a chair. So a lot of times, if you don't trust the wall to support you, or when you're standing, you don't trust yourself to stay upright, you will clench your thighs and you will use the fronts of your thighs. So here's another exercise. You don't need the half dome. You're just going to hold on to the chair. Maybe put your forearms on the chair. You're just going to back your hips up. So in order to relax the fronts of your thighs, your hips have to be beyond you, like over your ankles or behind them. They can't be in front, okay? So back your hips up a lot. And then see if you can lift and lower those kneecaps. Can you relax your thighs? You know your thighs are relaxed if you can tighten them and then relax them. If you tighten and they don't go anywhere, they're already in a tightened position. So something to start thinking about to relax, because that patella is diamond shaped, and it angles into your femur bone. And if it's always raised up, you're always tightening your thighs, then that diamond point is always rubbing against your condyles of your femur, and it's wearing away that cartilage, and that can contribute to arthritis. Okay, so we are going to do the pose I was just doing. So we're just going to do a balance pose. I want you first to stay hip width apart. We're going to shift. Let's go to the right foot. So we're going to shift our weight to our right foot or your left, whichever one you want to start with. Spread your toes. Okay, so spread your pinky toe and then all the way through to the big toe. We don't want our toes to be squished together. Relax your toes. Now you can use the chair for balance, but then see if you can balance on your own. Now notice what positions you get into to try to support yourself. I lift my rib cage. So you want to drop your ribs, drop that rib, and then ramp your head back. And it's okay if you need to hold on, your foot touches down, that's fine. Relax your shoulders, roll your shoulders. Keep that thigh relaxed. And then see if you can bring your other knee up and down, maybe. You don't have to do any of these other movements. You can just hold this hip lifting position, right? Can you bring your leg out to the side a few times? Can you bring it across the body? And notice as you add this dynamic movement, your balance maybe isn't so great, or maybe it improves. Some people do better when they are able to move a little bit. You can bring the leg back behind you. Ooh, and then let's try hip hinge forward and back. Now notice if your thigh starts to tighten up as you're doing these exercises to help you balance, and try to relax the front of that thigh, back your hip up, make sure it stays behind the ankle. Ooh. Okay, we'll do one more. Keep those ribs down. Control, feel the control through the back of the standing leg, the hamstring, right? Okay, so we're going to add a little bit of a component to it. If you don't have a block or you don't have books or something, don't worry about it. Just do the same thing we just did again. But if you have a little bit of elevation, you're going to put the block down. You want your heel just a couple inches from the back of the block. You don't want your heel to hang over the back because we're going to be standing through our heels, but you can let your toes go over the front. So now we're just pushing down through that right leg. We're going to do the other side, don't worry. But we're dropping the hip down and then pushing through that standing leg. Okay, so this is one that a lot of people like to hike their hips up. They're like, I'm doing it. But really, the work is being done through the standing leg, not the leg that's free. So you're pushing down through the standing leg, and that's going to engage this medial hip muscle here, your gluteus medius. You can even feel it contracting as I push down through my heel. And as that muscle shortens, it moves my pelvis like this, like this. Okay, so I'm not lifting up on my left side, I'm pushing down through my right side, pushing down through this side. Okay, so hopefully you can feel that. We'll go ahead and switch sides. So let's do the other side without anything. So feet hip width apart, spread your tootsie toes, shift your weight to your left leg, push down through that left leg, balance, push, like bring that big toe medial, really spread everything out. This is a good time to wear your toe spacers if you have them. I know I recommended them to some of you. I recommend them to everyone. Get some toe spacers, get some wide, some shoes that have a wide toe box. They have really cute ones these days. It's all the shoes that I wear are shoes that have a wide toe box, are flexible, are zero drop, which just means there's no heel. It's the same height in front as it is in the back. Okay, we're going to hip hinge forward. Now remember, we're trying to keep the front of that knee relaxed, right? We're trying to keep it very relaxed and keep backing your hip up. Relax, relax, relax. We're going to do one more. Spread your tootsie toes. Ooh, that was kind of a half one. We'll do one more. All right, nice job. And if you want to, you can lift that knee up and down. You can bring it out to the side. Bring it across the body. You can go slower. I'm kind of hurrying here. And bring the leg straight back. Okay? And then you feel that, right, in that hip. So now you can grab your block. Or you can use a half dome. I think we did that last time. You're going to place the heel away from the edge, like 2 inches, and your toes can hang off the front. Your foot is straight, and you can push down and up. First thing is you can just try to get the feet level. So you're pushing down through that standing left leg and engaging the hip, keeping the feet level. And then you can kind of do an eccentric contraction where you lower it. And then concentric, you push down, and then eccentric, lower. And you can kind of stretch that hip out, which is kind of nice. But try to relax the front of that thigh, which is tough. It's really tough to do. Back your hips up. So something to work up to. All right, nice job. Come off of that. Let's do top of the foot stretch again. So bring that leg straight back, rolling onto the big toe. So this should feel easier. Ideally, if you could do this workout every day, 3 times a week, like that would be awesome. Once a week is going to be great too. So back those hips up, and then we'll switch sides. Rolling on the top of the foot. You don't have to do these all in like sequence. You can do them randomly throughout the day if you remember. All right, nice job. So if you have weights nearby, grab your weights. If you don't have weights, you don't need them really, so don't worry about it. We're going to do a deadlift. So if you don't have weights, that's fine. If you do have weights, you can just put them in your hand. We're just going to come forward and come back. So with the deadlift, you are keeping your ribs down. We're keeping our knees straight, and we're just pushing our hips back and coming up. If this bothers your back at all, then you probably may not have the best form. Stop what you're doing and see if you can look at yourself in a mirror, and notice if you're rounding your low back. So the spine should not move. We're hinging at the hip. So the pelvis moves, but the spine is supported. Okay, we'll do 8 more. So check and make sure your feet point straight ahead. Maybe you externally rotate your femur bones by rolling on the outsides of your feet and then dropping your feet down. Once you kind of get the hang of it, you can practice just externally rotating the thighs without rolling onto the sides of your feet. You kind of just corkscrew your feet into the ground, and you'll notice your arch comes up a little bit. Keep the rib cage down. Let's do another 8. Here we go. Inhale and exhale. Really pushing those hips back, turning on those hamstrings. Keep those ribs pulled in. Last one. And then we're actually going to come down onto the floor. So it's really good to get down and up off the floor. You don't ever want to lose your ability to do that. And if you have lost your ability to do that, you can regain it. It's just a matter of practicing it every day. Just get down on the floor, use a chair to get back up, whatever you need to do. Okay, so however you want to get down onto your back, hopefully you can still see me. What we're going to do is come onto our back, bend your knees, have your feet be about hip width apart. And I first just want you to tuck and untuck your pelvis. Okay, so you can place your hands on your belly, feet are hip width apart, pointing straight ahead. So tucking and untucking your pelvis, you're going to feel, and if you want, you can put your hands on the side of your pelvis. You're going to feel your pelvis rocking forward and back. So you untuck the tailbone, tuck the tailbone, untuck the tailbone, tuck the tailbone. If you put your hands underneath your low back, you'll feel your low back. Smash your hands and then come off the hands. Smash the fingers and unsmash the fingers. So as you smash the fingers, you're actually doing a posterior pelvic tilt, and your pubic bone is coming anterior or forward, and the top of your pelvis is rolling back, and that's smashing your low back against the floor. And this is a very common position to sit in. It's very common, but it's not normal or natural. We really should be sitting in a neutral pelvis most of the time because this puts the least amount of compression on our discs. Okay? A lot of times your back pain is because you are in a posterior pelvic tilt when you're sitting all day long, and that puts a lot of pressure on your discs sitting. Standing, it puts the least amount of pressure on your discs. So getting a standing desk throughout the day is really a good idea. However, if you have to sit, of course, you know, we have to sit sometimes, then you could put your half dome or something rolled top, something block that you can sit on that's going to elevate your hips a little bit higher than your knees, which will allow you to more easily go into a neutral pelvis. So what's neutral pelvis? Let's talk about that. So go ahead and lift your hips up and then come back down. And I just want to preface, it's not bad to be in a posterior pelvic tilt. I mean, it's good to stretch. We should be able to do both. So nice posterior pelvic tilt and just kind of stretch out your low back. You can rock from side to side. And so if your back is kind of stiff and tight, this can feel really good. If you do a lot of yoga, you may feel nothing when you do this stretch because you're already really loose and limber from doing a lot of yoga. And then, you know, keep one knee in, stretch the other one out, pull that knee in toward your chest. So we're kind of just blasting through our pelvic points here, but that's okay. You can circle your knee. We'll do the other side. Just let your other leg stretch out. Feel that stretch in your hip flexor. And then circle the other knee. And then bring both knees in towards your chest. And we're going to do kind of like a frog. Knees in and then pushing them out and around. Pulling the knees in, pushing them, and then go the other way. Good. And then we're just going to straighten the knees. They may not straighten, that's okay. Bend and extend a few times. So we're just kind of loosening up a little bit. Okay, and then go ahead and bend your knees again, and let's find, actually, go ahead and drop the knees from side to side. So you're kind of doing a little windmill or scissors. So both of your knees drop over to the right, and then both of your knees drop over to the left, and you'll feel a stretch in the hips and the low back. Then I'm going and kind of pause here and feel that stretch and that twist. So just go at your own pace. Okay, finally, let's do pelvic neutral. So take your right hand and find your pubic bone, okay? So just push down until you find that bony part where your pubic bone, where you think it would be, right? And then take your left hand and place it on the top of your pelvis. So there's this bony point on the left side of your pelvis. Now, your pubic bone and your ASIS, that's that anterior superior iliac spine, that you should feel with your left hand on the front of your pelvis, the pubic bone and the ASIS should be in the same plane. So now go ahead and tuck your tailbone under and lift your pubic bone. Now, your pubic bone is higher than your ASIS. This is a posterior pelvic tilt. Okay, now bring your pelvic bone so it's lower than your ASIS and your back is really arched. That's an anterior pelvic tilt. Okay, and now find neutral. So lift your hips up, gently come back onto your tailbone, let your rib cage drop, and feel both of those bones in the same plane, your ASIS and your pubic bone. That's pelvic neutral. That's where you want to be when you're sitting, you're standing, you're laying down. So from here, I want you to grab your yoga strap. Okay, and we're going to place the strap around the ball of your right foot or your left, whichever one you want to start with. And then I want you to find pelvic neutral. Okay, so I like to bend my left knee, lift my hips up, come down on my pelvic, come down on my tailbone, drop my rib cage. Okay, so really you want the bottom of your rib, your ASIS bony hip bone, and your pubic bone to be all in one plane of motion, or one plane. Now you can wrap the strap around your wrists and straighten out your left leg, and then you're just going to hold the hamstring stretch in pelvic neutral. So if I want to bring my leg closer to my head, I can do that and stretch my hamstring, just move my leg. But if I move my pelvis, then I'm no longer going to feel a little curve in my low back, and my pubic bone is going to be higher, superior, than my hip bone. Okay, and then you know that you're kind of bypassing your hamstring muscle and you're just moving your spine. You're not stretching your hamstring, if that makes sense. So I hope that made sense. Draw your toes towards your face. And then we're going to bring the leg across the body a little bit. Whoo, and feel that nice stretch in the outer hip area. That's awesome. You can bring your other arm out to the side like a stretch. And I don't have any room here because I have a wall, but if you wanted to, you could go all the way over to get like a nice twist. So knee is straight. If you want to, you can rock your head from side to side. Uh-oh, there's another yawn. And then bring your leg up. You can put both handles in one hand. Place your left hand on your hip and then anchor your elbow down. And don't let your left hip roll to the right as you drop your right leg out to the side. And feel that heaviness in your right inner thigh. We're going to try and hold it for a minute. If you need to come out of it, that's totally fine. So let your leg be really heavy. Woo, we're stretching that inner thigh. Breathe. Keep the rib cage down. See if you're in a neutral pelvis. You might not be. That's okay. And breathing. I'm sorry that I keep yawning. I will try to go to bed earlier tonight. Okay, coming back up, we're going to switch sides. So bringing the ball of the left foot inside the rope. Okay, now we're going to find pelvic neutral. So I always like to lift my hips up and then come back down. So I'm gently on my tailbone. Ribs are down. Rib in line with your ASIS, your hip bone, in line with your pubic bone. Now you might need to bolster your head and shoulder blades to get your ribs down. A lot of times I have to do that. Okay, we can go over that too, or next time or whatever. Draw your toes back towards you, and then draw the leg towards your face without changing the position of your pelvis. Okay, keep your pelvis in neutral. Don't go into that posterior pelvic tilt. So draw your toes back towards you. Try to keep your knee straight. Try to relax your thigh. Full deep breaths. Notice how you want to invert your foot or bring the sole of the foot to face the middle or face towards the right. So I want you to push through your big toe so that you can keep your foot level to the ceiling. Keep drawing that leg back and then go ahead and bring it across the leg a little bit. So you might feel really tight, and what's nice about these stretches is after you do them like 3 times a week or once a week, as you start to do them regularly, they will get easier and easier and easier. So this is what I was talking about. I don't know if you can see me, but I can bring my foot all the way down to the floor and bring my left arm out to the side, and that's just a twist. You can turn your head to the left. Keep the ribs down, stretching the hips. Good. Then we're going to come up. We're going to do one more time each side. So bringing the right ball of the foot through the rope. Lift the hips up. Come back down. Check bottom rib, hip, and pubic bone all in one plane. Draw the toes back towards you. Push through the big toe. Keep your knee straight. It's amazing if you don't do this stretch regularly how tight you get. You know, your body really talks to you. Go ahead and bring your leg across your body a little bit. But notice how much easier it might be the second time around and how much deeper you might be able to get into the stretch, which is really nice. Stretching is, again, really good for your cardiovascular health, and it's also really great for being in the parasympathetic rest and digest mode that we talked about earlier. And then bring your leg out to the side. Keep your left hip down. Let your right leg be super, super heavy. So we're stretching the hamstring, the inner thigh, which there is part of your hamstring is part of your inner thigh. So I guess I wasn't completely wrong. There's part of the adductor magnus is actually acts as a hamstring. Okay, and switch legs. So you're going to put the ball of your left leg inside the rope, lift your hips up, come back down, pubic bone, ASIS, and bottom rib all in alignment. Draw the toes back towards you. Push through the heel, feel the stretch. Try to keep your knee straight. If your knee bends, you miss out on the opportunity to stretch behind the knee. Those tissues need some love because they're bent all the time while we're sitting, while we're driving in the car, while we're eating usually, while we're at work, while we're visiting with friends, unless you're doing something active. Okay, bring that leg across your body. You can go all the way over if you want to. And then bring it out to the side. Let your leg be really heavy. So we're doing the inner thigh. If you have a wall in your way like me, just use it to your advantage. Use the wall instead of your arms to keep your leg up, which is actually even more supportive. You can use this time to stretch your neck, relax your neck by just rocking your head from side to side. And I'm sorry that you can't really see me. Okay, and then come back up. So hopefully you're feeling pretty good. I want to show you one more inner thigh stretch that you can do on the floor that will really help to open you up a little bit. So we're going to come down onto our bellies. Actually, while we're here, let's do something a little bit challenging. So we did this one last time. We're gonna put our forearms on the floor and you can come up onto your toes or your knees. We're gonna draw our ribs in and feel as you draw your ribs in, those abs activate, okay? So your pubic bone is off the floor a little bit. Try to relax your buttocks, inhale. And as you exhale, you're gonna blow out a candle that's located like 2 feet below the floorboards, okay? So here we go, inhale. Keep your chin in neutral, tuck your chin, exhale, press up. And really get that candle, blow it out all the way out. Draw those ribs in, and then we're going to slowly come back down. We're going to do that a couple more times. So deep breath in, exhale, push. So we're trying to come up as one whole unit. Try to come up as one whole unit and maybe come down as one whole unit too. Keep those shoulders down away from your ears. Really spread your shoulder blades wide. Pull your chin back, or you can let your head drop and then we'll come back down. Good. We'll do one more time. Inhale. Exhale, push. Did you get the candle blown out? Feel those abs really activating as you do that. And then we're going to come back down. Nice job. So from here, we're going to slide the left knee up. Okay? But you're not going to roll to your right hip. You want to try to stay level on the left hip and the right hip. Okay? If you feel a good stretch here, stay here. If you don't, you can straighten that leg and then roll so that the knee angles up towards the ceiling. Okay, drop your head and breathe. This is another great inner thigh stretch. I recommend holding each stretch for about a minute. Sometimes I get a little impatient myself, so I hope you can still hear me. My microphone might be a little muffled. So rolling that knee up towards the ceiling, relax your shoulders. And then if you want to be really tricky, you can reach back and grab your ankle of the other leg to stretch your quad. If you can't reach your ankle, no problem. Use your yoga strap. Just bring your strap around your ankle and then pull it up over your shoulder and pull it back so that you can stretch the top of the quad. Okay. Now let's do the other side. So I'm going to just turn around here because I don't have any room because of that wall, but you can stay where you are. And you're going to start off just by bringing the right knee up, or whichever leg you didn't do first. And remember, you're dropping that right hip down. You want to try to keep your hips level. You don't have to stand up like I am. You can come down so so your chest is flat. If you need more of a stretch, you can straighten that left knee, and you're going to try to roll your knee up towards the ceiling. So don't let your thigh roll in towards the floor. Roll it back and up. Foot is flexed. You can draw your ribs in, relax your shoulders. And then if you want, you can try to grab your left ankle, flex your foot. But if you can't reach, then just put your yoga strap around and then pull. See how I'm pulling this up over my shoulder? So you can stretch it that way. Okay? So stretching the quadriceps, great for healthy knees. Great for knee pain. See if you can breathe into your belly here. Nice full deep breaths. Feel your belly pushing into the earth, into the floor. Relax your shoulders. All right, go ahead and come out of that. And if you want to, you can try to grab both ankles and you can come up into like a boat pose. All right, they do this in yoga. Try to keep your knees close together. If you don't have the flexibility to grab your ankles, just again use your strap. So you just put your strap through your ankles and then pull the strap towards you. All right, we'll come out of that. We're going to do one more. So just go ahead and kind of just sit back onto your haunches and then come into cat and cow. So just your normal cat and cow, tucking and untucking. Good. And then we're going to keep our ribs pulled in, rotate the elbow pits forward, keep the middle finger pointing straight ahead and the thumbs pointing towards each other. And we're going to let the shoulder blades come together and then push into your hands and press the shoulder blades away. Try to keep your ribs pulled in. Try to keep your pelvis untucked in a neutral position. So you should have a natural curve in your low back. Your tailbone should be freely lifting up towards the ceiling. Good. And then try some shoulder rolls. So we're keeping our elbows straight. Go both directions. And then keeping those elbow pits rolled forward and the thumbs pointed towards each other, middle fingers pointed ahead. Curl your toes up and lift your hips up. And you can bend your knees a lot. We're really just trying to straighten the spine, but keep those elbow pits rolled forward. So really engaging our shoulders. And breathe here. Rotate those elbow pits forward. Nice, strong in the back and the shoulders. Nice full deep breaths. You can wiggle your hips out a little bit. Feel the arch in your feet. Externally rotate your feet. Ooh, feels so good to stretch out that spine, right? Move your hips from side to side. And coming back down. All right. So I had more planned for us. We're running out of time. So we're going to just take it down a notch. We're going to go into our relaxation meditation. If you don't have time for this, I know a lot of people cut out like in yoga class or whatever, and that's totally fine. But see if you can do some type of meditation, relaxation, visualization right before you go to bed to just calm yourself and help you get into that parasympathetic rest and digest state. But we're going to lay down in a comfortable position. And actually, if you can bolster yourself, that would be great. I'll show you how I do it. So I take my half dome and I put it underneath my shoulder blades. And then I take a block and I put that underneath my head. And then I can feel that my bottom rib cage is in line with my hip bone, which is in line with my pubic bone. And I try to stay in that neutral position. Then I just bring my arms out, palms facing the ceiling. Really relax my rib cage down. Take some nice deep breaths. And I want you to visualize, just for a few moments, your happy, healthy, radiant self. You know, your ideal self. How you look, how you feel, how you act, who you be. Imagine yourself, you know, in some type of joyful setting. Maybe it's frolicking on the beach with loved ones. And there's a big smile on your face. And the wind is in your hair and the sun is in your eyes and you're just having a grand time. Whatever that is for you, I want you to embody that vision. So just feel it, think it, smell it, use as many senses as you can in this visualization practice. So actually feel those muscles, feel your body in this scenario. Hear the sound of your voice, your laughter. What does your hair look like, your eyes, your face? How do your clothes fit? So send some love and some light and some exuberance and some energy to every single cell in your body and kind of imprint that vision that you have for yourself into every single cell, knowing that you can be that radiant, shining, happy, smiley, fun, effervescent self, or whoever you imagined. You can be that, and you are embodying that now in this moment. And then go ahead and just take some deep breaths in and out and begin to relax your entire body. And do any kind of movements to stretch out your neck. And just notice your breathing. And begin to soften your feet. Relax your ankles. Soften your calves. Relax your hamstrings and your thighs. Relax your hips and your pelvis. Soften your rib cage, your belly, and your spine. Deeply relax all the organs inside your pelvis, inside your rib cage, thanking those bony structures for protecting your precious organs. Connect with your heart. Relax your shoulder blades. Soften your mid and upper back, your low back. Relax your shoulders, your elbows, your forearms, your wrists. Relax your hands, your fingers. Soften your neck and your throat. Relax your face, your scalp, your eyes, your nose, your temples. Relax your jaw. Relax your entire body. And just do one final scan of your entire body. And allow yourself some rest and rejuvenation as you sink deeper and deeper to this state of relaxation. And go ahead and begin to move your fingers and your toes, gently waking up your body, deepening your breath, opening up your eyes, maybe doing a full body stretch. And when you're ready, bending your knees, rolling yourself onto your side, and just gently coming up into a comfortable seated position, whatever that is for you. And just kind of notice how you feel. And we'll go ahead and bring those arms up overhead. We're going to grab the left wrist and come up and over to the right. So we're just doing a little side bend here. Try to keep your rib cage down and keep your arms up. And then we'll come back up. Grab your right wrist, keep your ribs down, and come up and over to the left. You can look up at your hands, relax, and come back up to center. And just forward fold over your thighs. So just stretching. Drop your forehead to the mat and breathe. And walk your hands over to the left. And walk your hands over to the right. And coming back to center, we're going to come onto our knees, and you're going to bring one foot forward and feel that stretch in your hip flexor. Drop your rib cage. So balancing here, if you need to hold on to something, that's fine. And then we're going to switch sides. So other foot forward, drop your rib cage, feel that stretch in your hip flexor. Pull your chin back. Take some nice full deep breaths. So perhaps tomorrow you remember one of these stretches that we did today and you implement it into your day. That would be some very nutritious movement for your body to bring blood flow and also to bring peace and healing and restoration as well. So we'll go ahead and stand up however you want to stand up. We can bring those arms up overhead, maybe come up onto your tippy toes and down. Do that a couple more times. Last one. Thank you so very much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed yourself, and we will see you next time. Thanks for coming. Bye-bye.